Hello, everybody. This is Jeremy. This is Jets Chaos. We're here to talk about championship. That's right. We're going to talk about championships. What does a team have to do to win a championship team? To win and be a championship team, blah, 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 blah. What does a team have to do? What do we have left to prove? Well, we haven't had a winning season in a long time, so that's something. But really, seriously, it's time to really think about what we've put together, what we think we're missing, what might be an obstacle during this season, what could prevent us from going all the way, what's left. We'll talk about that right after this. By the way, welcome. I'm hanging out in the lounge tonight, the Jets Lounge. So say hello to everybody, and I'll play you this, and then we'll get started.
Let's go! We need JJ! We want JJ! We want JJ! We want JJ! Let's go!
JJ! We got Johnson! We got Johnson at 26! We got Johnson at 26! This is great!
It is Matt, it is Richie. We are hanging out with the Jets Lounge guys. Richie, my man, how's it going?
Matt, this is sick. We're at the Jets Lounge event in Farmingdale. The main event is what it's called. We got the entire Rucker family over there.
Jets! Jets!
Hello, everybody. We're back. So, what do we need to do, guys? What do we need to do to win a championship? I mean, we got the best quarterback available that was available to come and be on this team. I mean, I know not everybody loved the move, but what other quarterback were we going to have at this time? I mean, the Zach Wilson experience was the Zach Wilson experience. There wasn't really much to do at that point. So the reality is, whether you liked it or not, Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback right now. We don't know what we're going to get, but I'll tell you what. His worst season was pretty much as good as any season that we've ever had in a quarterback. And I don't think he's due to have his worst season because he's going to be loaded with, for whatever reason, the offensive coordinator he likes. And maybe it's an offensive coordinator that doesn't bother him. And maybe that's all he really needs. I don't know. But when these two guys are together, magic happens. So I think we're good for a quarterback that's going to be around 30 touchdowns. Yeah, give or take. It could be 32. It could be 33. It could be 29. But I think it's safe to say, just based on if you look at all his numbers and his stats and how he looks, I'm going to think positively and think that we have at least that. When I think about the weapons he has and the offense he has around him, I'm thinking the only thing that will take away touchdowns is a lot of touchdowns for Breece Hall and maybe for our other power running backs that are going to come in inside the 5-yard line and might be able to get into the end zone. And that's fine. I don't care where the touchdowns come from. The point is we're going to have an experienced, well-seasoned, well-capable leader, a well-capable quarterback. And that's where it all starts. It all starts with that. Now, we could talk about the defense individually, but the reality is it's a top 5 defense, okay? Now, there's different metrics to measure defense. There's a lot of ways that we might be number one. We might be ready to pass San Francisco as the number one defense because right now our defensive line is better than theirs. Also, Baltimore's very good defense, very different defense. So, you know, it's picking I don't know, toothpicks or little piece of straw out of a haystack. I mean, like it doesn't matter. The point is we're going to be one of the top defenses. So so we can go back to the offensive side of the ball and look at Aaron Rodgers and think, what does he need? Well, the one time he's ever had a top 5 defense in Green Bay, he won the Super Bowl. So that's a good start. But that's not all he had. So we really have to look at the other pieces and make sure he has everything collectively that he needs for us to really believe we're a Super Bowl team. Now, guys, remember, there's no guarantees of winning the Super Bowl. Nobody is saying, oh, yeah, we're winning the Super Bowl. All right? There's no guarantee of that. It's about, are we crazy? Are we living on a different planet if we think that we have a chance to compete for a Super Bowl? And we're talking about what needs to happen and what we need to do for that to happen. We're not saying, oh, we're favored to win the Super Bowl. We're saying what would have to happen for the Jets to win, because we seem to have a pretty good freaking team. Okay? So let me say hello to some people first. We got Kukulek hanging out. He was the first one here. What's going on? We got Rich. He's a friend of mine. Rich. He's here. Ricky from New York is here, but he's really in Florida. He's down there in the dungeon. He's got banners behind him. He's doing all kinds of weird stuff. He's a great guy. What's going on, Ricky? Alana's here. I'm sure Ricky is, really happy about that. So, you're being such an asshole. I'm trying so hard not to hate this guy and be like a nice guy about it. But dude, you're such an asshole because everybody here likes the Knicks, so many of us, and you're here to rub it in or act. I mean, who hurt you, man? Who hurt you? I mean, really just a mean person. Really, you're a lowlife, dude. That's why everyone hates you. I get it now. You see, Rick, I get it. I know why he's a lowlife. You're a lowlife, bro. You're a lowlife. I won't block you. You could be here and you could be a lowlife all you want, but people aren't paying you the kind of attention you think you want. Nobody likes you anymore, dude. You're an asshole. Okay, I said it. Wild Wave, what's going on, man? It's good to see you. Good to see you. What a perfect skull. I don't know what that's about, but all right. Russell Scarf is here. Jets Cash just guaranteed we are winning the Super Bowl. You all heard of the guarantee. I don't know about that, but I think that will compete. Mike from Staten Island, what's going on? Mike from Staten Island, it's good to see you. I love Staten Island, baby. When I grew up, Staten Island was like you drove through it to go to the Outer Bridge crossing of the Goethals Bridge, and it was a dump. But I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to tell you in all honesty, Staten Island is not a dump anymore. Staten Island got some character to it, man. Great restaurants. I mean, and do I need to say more than that? Great restaurants. Great neighborhoods. A nice train that runs through it from the ferry. A nice little stadium where the Yankees farm team, single A team plays. Staten Island got some spunk to it, man. I like Staten Island. Weed the People's in the house. Let me hold on. Let me. There you are, Weed the People. What's going on, man? Whoa. Oh, there you are. I can see you now. All right. Good to see you, buddy. Got Dom C in the house. What's going on? It has been. I haven't been very active, Dom. I know. I haven't been very active. I was in the mood to talk Jets. What can I say? Bernard Nixon, what's up? I do want to make these videos. I got all this great film for a few players that I talked a lot about. I got other people talking about those players now, and I haven't put up the film, so there's no film on them. But Latham, man, and I'm not talking about J.C. Latham. I'm talking about the Latham we have control over right now. I like the tape. And I'll put it out there, and then someone tell me why I'm wrong, because I can't find it why I'm wrong for liking this guard. Okay, Brady Latham, guys. I'm telling you, I think we got a guy. I think we got somebody. I'm not saying he's going to come in and be plug-and-play star player. He's an undrafted free agent. I'm saying that we may have picked up a guy who could eventually develop into really good depth or even a starter. That's how I feel about it. Watch for my video. I'm going to see if I can make it today. put it out tomorrow or Tuesday, and hopefully share it with everybody so you can see some of his film. Ricky New York is saying something. He's saying, "Weed, sup, man? Good to see you." Everybody loves Weed the People, and can you blame them? New York super fan, what's going on? Good to see you. What's up? I don't know what's up. Everybody's saying, "What's up? What's up?" Oh, I'm just chilling. It was a beautiful weekend in Sacramento, and I'm all caught up with my work, so I figure I'll come on here. Maybe I'll edit some food videos and release them. I still got the cheesesteak panini thing that I had when I visited, and Dom took me to this place in Edgewater, New Jersey. I still haven't posted that, so maybe I'll get that edited and out sometime this week. So that's what's up, man. I'm just doing my thing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know I'm gonna throw out some love to Staten Island, man. Hidden gem. Well, we better stop talking about it, or else everybody's gonna figure it out and ruin it like they ruin everything else. I love the Knicks and the Mets, Jets. I've been a fan from when I was a kid and still a fan. Cool, James Thompson. That came out of nowhere. I kind of knew that, though. You've been around here. I knew you were a New York fan. So that's cool. I don't understand what he meant when he said Canes are next or something. What is he? I don't even know what he's talking about. But because that series is over. Rogers or Marinara? Oh, Rogers or Marino? That's really tough. Rogers got a Super Bowl, and Marino doesn't. Marino is really good, dude. He was really, really good. I'm not going to front. Dan Marino was a hell of a player. I mean, we got to see it firsthand because he had his best games against the Jets. He had an incredible release. The Dolphins never really gave him a great defense. They never gave him a great running back. Different kind of player than Aaron Rodgers. One thing they did give him was the best pass blocking offensive line in the world. I mean, the guy had lots of time in the pocket. He did. He had a very quick release. So time, quick release. He was able to really, take advantage of that. Rodgers won a Super Bowl. Can't take that away from him. Rodgers was more accurate, better touchdown to interception ratio. I think Marino probably had more touchdowns per season on average. I hate debates like that because I'm not willing to put down either player. I mean, you're talking about two of the best quarterbacks to ever do it. So you can mix it up however you want. I mean, make whatever points. A lot of the more modern people that remember things that are more modern are going to say Rodgers. And people who lived back in the day watching Marino might say Marino. I don't know. I mean, Rodgers, Marino, Montana, Brady, Peyton, Elway. I mean, you could just put them all on the same tier. You know what I mean? You could just put them all on the tier. So that's what I'll say. Let's see. What are we saying? How do I have 31 hours and 19 minutes? I've worked 2 days. Don't know I'm needed here. Laughing out loud. I don't know what you're talking about, bro. I don't know what anybody's talking about anymore. But anyway, let's go back to it. So we got Aaron Rodgers, right? I'm assuming worst case scenario, it's 26 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 38 to 3,900 yards, worst case scenario. I actually think that's good enough. I really do, depending on how he plays in the playoffs. But I don't believe that he's going to have that. I don't. I think with Garrett Wilson, I think Corley, Mike Williams, one of those guys will have the bigger year. Either Williams is healthy or it's Corley, whatever. I think we got two capable tight ends that give him legitimate targets. I I mean, obviously Conklin's a little bit more seasoned in that department. I think Ruckert has not done anything wrong to not deserve respect. Check out Knob. He gifted 5 memberships. Thank you, Knob. That's awesome of you. Glad you did that. So, let me think about this. So, I mean, I think that Aaron Rodgers is going to have not the MVP years that he had. He could, which would be incredible. I mean, if he had an MVP type season with our defense and our running game, I mean, come on, it's lights out. But I honestly believe he could be, if you took his last 3 playing years and averaged them together. I mean, that's what I keep saying. I mean, he's a 30 to 35 touchdowns. He's a 4,000 to 40 or 3,800 to 4,300 yards. He's, single-digit interceptions, maybe 10, hopefully, not too many. I mean, that's who Aaron Rodgers is. You put that with a top 3 defense. You put that with, if he stays healthy the whole year, I'm not even going to talk about the younglings. Let's say, but if Breece Hall just has a healthy 17-game year, I mean, I think you're looking at a guy who can hit 2,500 all-purpose yards. I mean, he literally got to 1,600 last year with no quarterback and the most abysmal offensive line because of injuries ever seen in the as bad as we've ever seen in the NFL. I mean, I know he's going over 2,000. 2,500 is a stretch. Don't get me wrong; it's not an expectation. I'm saying it's a high goal. You know what I mean? It's a stretch goal. I'm not predicting. Oh yeah, he's going to get 25. It's not easy to get 2,500 yards. But I think, it's not easy at all. But I think he can get to 2,000 because I think he can get 1,100 rushing yards. And I think he can get the 600, 700 receiving yards. It's very possible. The way he would get to 2,500 is if he goes 1,800 yards rushing, which is possible if he's healthy. He's going to be the bell cow. It's possible he can go 1,800 yards and get the rest and start, closing on 2,500. Very difficult. If he only gets to 2,200, 2,300, we'll be very happy. So it's not, it's a failure if he doesn't. It's just my stretch goal for him. It's a stretch goal. It's the same thing as for yardage saying Aaron Rodgers 4,500 yards or Aaron Rodgers 35 plus touchdowns. It's a stretch goal. It means it's not likely. It's like taking that really high-end goal, but it's not impossible. It's something that great top running backs have done. And Breece Hall, I don't know if we've seen the full potential of his greatness. Rookie year he gets hurt. He was doing it with no offensive line anyway. And then comes back from an ACL. So he had to come back slow. And then he's dealing with, we have a decimated offensive line. We have no passing attack. We have the opposing defenses stacking the box with 8-9 guys. I mean, all of that could change with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers comes in and suddenly you can't stack the box with 8+ guys anymore. You can't do it because you got a guy who can throw the ball and you got a guy like Mike Williams and you got Garrett Wilson. And suddenly it just changes everything. And most importantly, we have an offensive line. I mean, we could talk about Breece Hall and the reason he'll have more production, and we haven't even mentioned the offensive line as far as its just ability to block. I'm talking about just a passing game that gets the defenders out of the box. We haven't even talked about what if AVT is able to stay healthy. And we have an improving, growing, and we've seen these offensive linemen get so much better their second year. So even if you're not in love with what Tippmann did, I think he was a very good rookie year, especially because he played multiple positions. But when you consider that he's going to grow into his second year, when you look what AVT did from his first year to his second year, you look what Thomas for the Giants did his first year to his second year. It's a big step up for offensive linemen. We're talking about a freaking Hall of Fame left tackle, a Hall of Famer left tackle. We're talking about a left guard whose biggest problem is penalties, but his strength is run blocking. He's a nasty, mean run blocker. And we've seen that guard is very important and sometimes conditional on who they have next to them at left tackle. So now he's going to have a freaking Hall of Fame, Pro Bowl, freaking offensive left tackle next to him, Simpson. So there's no reason he can't get better than he was in Baltimore. So you got that side taken care of. You got a emerging Tippmann. You got AVT, hopefully staying healthy because he's in his guard position. Neither of his injuries increases in chances of getting injured again. He's had a lot of bad luck, but neither of those injuries, in my opinion, in my experience as a fan, I don't have any hard facts, but they just don't feel like the kind of injuries that I'm worried for an offensive lineman are going to happen again. I think once you're healed, and then you're starting over. It's like rolling the dice over again. So I think there's a very good chance we can have AVT back. Now, someone's going to get hurt. I get it. I mean, knock on wood. I wish it wouldn't, but someone's going to miss games. Hopefully we don't lose anybody for a whole season. Then we go over to right tackle, and we got a veteran over there in Mosley, right? So you got a guy who likes to play 17 games a year. It's a completely different situation this year. So now, I mean, you're literally changing everything for Breece Hall. You're saying, hey, instead of running against a defense that's stacking the box because they have no fear of your quarterback at all, now they have to start double teaming receivers and putting guys back because they have a quarterback who could pick them apart. It's like, hey, instead of going against Hansen and Newman and a slow freaking Becton, and a rookie in Warren who had no training camp, now we're going to be going against this new offensive line. And Breece Hall is a full year removed from the ACL. And typically he's staged to do better for that reason. So he has so many different arrows pointing up for him for so many different reasons. I think we really could go with a really big stretch goal for Breece Hall. I think it's possible to say his stretch goal is 2,500 yards. He could be up there with the great running backs of all time. I don't know that he will. It's a stretch goal, but I don't think it's impossible. I don't see what the argument is that it is impossible. He's special. We all seen it. We've all seen what he could do. Before he got hurt, man, he was breaking one every game. When we had any kind of passing game, he was running all over the place. And then apparently our offensive coordinator woke up in the middle of last season and realized you could use him in the passing game as well. Just get him the effing ball. Again, I don't care if what hurts him from getting a lot of yards is other people getting yards. I don't care if Corley takes his yards and he doesn't get a lot of receiving yards. I don't care. All that matters is the team wins. So if Corley takes a ton of Hall's yards for receiving, and doesn't get as many yards as a receiving running back, that's okay if Corley's doing it for us, because all we need to do is win. So it doesn't matter who gets the yardage. Somebody was arguing, oh, Conklin's bad. He's not worth it. He's not good. He's probably going to get worse this year. He's not going to go over 600 yards because there's so many other weapons. That's not a knock on him. Who cares? If Ruckert and Conklin got 900 yards total last year, I don't know Ruckert's total yards, but whatever it was, 200, 300. So if it was a total of 800 yards, 850 yards last year, and now this year they share and get 1,200 yards, 600 each. Am I mad at Conklin? No, I couldn't care less. I couldn't care less. It doesn't matter. Individual numbers do not matter. What matters is we get the production from somewhere. I don't care if the production is spread out. I don't care if we don't have one receiver that has record numbers. It doesn't matter. Let the whole league be obsessed with that. Let Miami fans say, oh, we got Tyreek Hill. Look at his numbers. Did they win a playoff game? Does it matter? Has anything Tyreek Hill done for the Dolphins matter? No, it doesn't. Yeah, they could be excited about next year and what he could do. I don't blame them. I'd be excited too if I had him on my team. But what he's done in the past doesn't matter. And the amount of yards he has doesn't matter if you don't win in the playoffs and go as far as you hope to go, whatever your expectations are. But it doesn't matter. So I don't care if Garrett Wilson gets, if it's a choice between Garrett Wilson gets 2,000 yards receiving or he doesn't get 2,000 yards, but as a group, our wide receiver room gets the same total yardage as if he did. Doesn't matter to me. All I care is, do we win playoff games? That's all I care about. I don't care how it happens. It doesn't matter. So I don't care about the personal statistics, but you know what? It's important to have high-level, studly guys in order to, even if they're not getting all the yardage, they're a decoy. And because they're there, because Garrett Wilson's there, Mike Wilson's able to go crazy. Because Mike Wilson and Garrett Wilson are there, Malachi Corley is able to go crazy. Right? I mean, it's still a great thing. As long as, if just your presence is helping others be more successful. I think the presence of Aaron Rodgers is going to help it also. So the nonsense of Conklin needs to have better statistical numbers in order for him, otherwise tight end was a weakness, is nonsense. Watch him play. Determine if he's a good tight end by the way he plays, not only by looking at a box score. Because if Garrett Wilson gets 180 yards receiving and Mike Williams gets 90 yards receiving and Corley gets 60 yards receiving, there's not many yards left over, right? I mean, there might not be a lot of yards left over for him. Maybe he only got 40, 50 yards. Maybe Rucker got 40 yards. Maybe Breece Hall got 70 yards. That's a lot of yards when you add it all up. So it doesn't matter. Let's just judge our team by their record. That's all we care about. Give me 12-5. Let's see. Let's get to some comments. Super Hempy is saying, you're right. I think he will have about 30 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 37 to 4,200 yards. That's beautiful. And watch Curley just due to situation, we'll have a much bigger than expected year. Breece is the O-lead. Yeah. Look, if you combine that with an effective running game, that's all we need. If you combine that with no running game, then it's a problem. But if you combine that with a running back who is going to get 1,500 yards on the ground with this performance from Aaron Rodgers, we're golden. Especially if we're talking about one of the two rookies, like a Braylon Allen, getting up to 400 to 500 yards as well. Then all of a sudden we're starting to look like one of the leading rushing teams. I don't care, man. I'll happily look like Pittsburgh. I'll happily look like traditional Baltimore Ravens. I have no problem with that, man. Or how about the way we were in 2009 and 2010? I have no problem with being a great running team. I mean, and I don't care if people call it boring football, man. If we can control that ball for 35 to 40 minutes a game, time of possession, with our defense, do you know how much fun it's going to be for us? We'll just run the game. It'll be great for us. What's this? Rodgers plays every game this season and we win the East. Tie best record 12. Hey, this is exactly how I feel. Feeling lucky. Maybe I should also play the lottery. There is luck. There's luck in all of this when we say that. Being healthy is lucky. We know that. We need luck. We do need some luck. But every team needs some luck. Every team needs some luck. I mean, Miami needs some luck. I mean, Tua is always one tackle away from done. Career over. Literally, it's no exaggeration. One tackle away at every moment. If he ever, God forbid, knock on wood that he doesn't, said never wish that on another human being. If he gets tackled hard and bangs his head into that ground and gets a hard concussion, he's done. At least if he's smart, he is. So, I mean, luck. They need luck too. Josh Allen runs hard, man. Vicious. He keeps doing that, he's going to need luck. Because eventually you get hurt when you do that. Father time. Breece threat in run game will give Rodgers so much opportunity in passing game. It's complementary. You know what I mean? It's a complementary thing. If Rodgers is on, and we've seen him on, when I say on, I mean the accuracy. When Rodgers is throwing 80, 85%, when he's starts a game 11 for 13, I mean, what are they going to do? What do? You have to adjust your defense. Otherwise, we'll just pick you apart all game. And okay, now you put everybody out and you empty that box to stop Rodgers. Breece Hall is going to freaking dismantle you. And if he gets tired from all those carries, that's okay because we brought in 2 young animals. So top 7 OL, very possible. There's only one obstacle. That is, they have to gel. I don't know what I'm talking about completely. I'm not claiming that I do, but I'm going to say this because I've heard other people say it. Apparently, this blocking scheme is easier, meaning less. It's simpler. It's less complicated as far as missed assignments and all that stuff. So apparently, it's going to favor the kind of talent that we got. And we're using this offensive blocking scheme because it fits the offense we want to run now, which is power football, punch you in the face, running game, hardcore power football. So it might require a little bit less gelling than another scheme. If you say, well, why wouldn't everybody do that? Why wouldn't they use the other scheme? Well, because other schemes have other advantages for other types of offenses and might have higher potential if you could master it. So there's all kinds of philosophies, right? I think that we're using one where that will favor 5 guys who've never played as a unit together. Then if you try to do like an outside zone where there's so much communication and chemistry required. Now, the truth is, though, you want them to gel no matter which scheme you use. They're all going to involve communication at some point, at some level. So, but I think there's a lot of talent on the offensive line. And it's very believable if they do it the right way and they get it together and stay healthy, they could be a top 7. Top 10 would be fine. We don't need them to be a top 7. If they were top 10, it would be absolutely fine. We got Dano here saying hello. What's going on, Dano? Ant Jets 82 is here. What's going on, brother? Big Will Jets for life. How you doing, man? Good to meet you. Hope you're subbed to the channel. Jets Mess. Longtime member is here in the house. What's going on, my brother? Snacks. I got snacks. I'm eating Smarties right now, but I got snacks. Yeti is in the house. Good friend of mine, Yeti. Yeti is he's been making some food review videos of his own. It's kind of fun to watch. I'm with Ricky. Oh, okay. I thought you meant you're with him, like you're hanging out or something. But you're not hanging out. You're saying that you are with him, like you believe in what he's saying. It also could have been I'm with Ricky, like, hey guys, all right, it's your, hey, there's not there's anything wrong with that, No, I'm just kidding. I'm with Ricky. The potential to crack 4,000 is there, very reachable. We have 4 weapons, all capable of 750. We know that GW is 1,000 plus. Breece gives 500 plus. Count gives an easy 750. There's a soft 2250. Yeah, look, I mean, break it down by yards per game, right? I mean, 250 yards per game is what, 2,500? Somebody do the math for me. And then 7 times the 200 is 1,400. Does that get us there? That almost gets us there. And then the other 50. Yeah. 250 yards a game will do it, right? I mean, is it really that hard to imagine Aaron Rodgers averaging 250 yards a game? 250 times 17 is... No, that was a mistake. Wait a second. 250 times... I can't even do this with a calculator. 4,250. Makes it with it makes it easily. So, yeah, why can't he get 4,000 yards? He definitely can. He's got to stay healthy. Production is better than talent. Zach had all the talent in the world but couldn't produce. Yeah, I mean, look, he had a ton of talent, but he also had a lot of shortcomings that we found out about because football's all mental. It's a mental game. All right, guys, unfortunately, I got to go. See you all tomorrow. Okay, later, Rick. We got the Knicks lost. Yeah, I kind of know that, Patty. The Knicks had a great year when you consider the injuries, man. I mean, they were decimated with injuries, and they won 50 games, and they made the playoffs, and they didn't go out in the first round. And no one can deny the injuries that team had to sustain was brutal. Brutal. They were doing this with backup players, second-round draft picks, and it is what it is. Here to ease the pain from the dude. Eventually, it'll go away, and you realize we had a really good year. And the Knicks are a player away, or just being healthy. It's getting closer. Much better situation than the Knicks have been in the last 15 years. I mean, it was a horrible stretch, and it looks like there's finally a team that you don't have to be embarrassed about. This OL will not stay healthy after playing 3 games in 10 games. And 3 games in 10 games, 3 games in 10 days. I don't know about that. I think it depends. It depends. We got to stay healthy during the San Francisco game. You never know. We might rout Tennessee. Or who do we play week 2? I think it's the Titans. Yeah. We might rout them, and by the second half, by the middle of the third quarter, beginning of the third quarter, we might be able to put in Fashanu, rest Tyron Smith. I mean, you never know. You never know. And I like that we have him on Fashanu. If he has an amazing camp and he looks incredible, we can actually do it. We can actually rotate him in. If Tyron Smith needs a break, or if we're afraid of him getting hurt, we might say, you know what? For this Thursday night game against New England, we're going to go with Fashanu, and we're going to let you have the extra rest, and you could be an emergency replacement. We'll have that flexibility. I mean, the good news is that we're playing a team like New England week 3. So, yeah, we might be exhausted, but at least we're playing it. We're not playing one of the harder teams on our schedule. You're making an appearance tonight on the other guy's show. Possibly. I don't know yet. It just depends on what we're doing. But I don't know. I don't know yet. He hasn't asked me. But that's okay. He doesn't have to ask me. There's no pressure for him to ask me. Let's get that. We're on screen a lot together. He's allowed to do his own show and not have to invite me to it. So I don't want to act like I'm pointing the finger at him. But I'm just making the point that I don't know if I'm going to have time tonight, and I don't know if he has an interest in that. They have their format. His new partner for Sunday night is doing an excellent job, and I would like them to establish, as a supporter of the show and of him, I would love for them to establish their own show and their own identity. Puerto Rico Jets fan, trade Randall and or M. Robinson. Yeah, I mean, the fact that they were winning so much with Randall, you imagine what they can get for him. But we need to get talent in his place, I would imagine, because we're missing something. You know what I mean? We're missing something. So you change your name. Here you go. Puerto Rico. So who is that? If you're not, who did you change your name from? Is it, are you infrared? I don't know. Big Will, Jet for life. The passing game helps the run game, vice versa. Yeah, complimentary football. Zach was the major problem. They stacked the box. I agree 100%. And the O-line had to play harder to protect Zach than the ball. Injuries will go down with quick release. I agree with everything you said, Big Will. Everything you said, I agree 100%. That's why I'm so excited about this. I think that the rest of the league doesn't see it, just like we don't see it with other teams too. I don't think every team sees their team. They're not intimately looking at the Jets, like in the detail that we are. And I think the league is in for a really rude awakening. I think this is going to be a very good football team. I don't think we're just going to be a playoff team that gets into the playoffs. I think we're going to be a very dangerous team. I think there's some teams that are going to get rolled on, and they're going to find out. Yeti, if I was Ricky, we would be stoned to call in. We'd be too stoned to call in, but I would fix his internet. Oh, if you were with Ricky, we would be too stoned to call in. I don't know about that. Nobody pressures chaos. That's not true. I get pressured all the time. I feel pressure. I do. Sometimes I do. I like that, though. Nobody pressures chaos. Nobody. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, so anyway, we got a great we have a great chance to improve our offense, right? Run the ball, pass the ball. We could change our game plan now. We could come in on certain games when it's working and just Aaron Rodgers airs it out until they stop it, and then we run. Or we could just start by running the ball, and the second they stack the box to stop it, start passing. We could just mix it up and be unpredictable. There's so many different game plans and strategies. I don't really love our offensive coordinator for that, but he did a really good job in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers. I don't want to leave out, though, that with Green Bay, they had a head coach in LaFleur who was very offensive-minded. So there might not be exactly the same as it was, but I think if you get that personnel onto the field, Aaron Rodgers will take care of the rest. I think when you give a quarterback that kind of talent, with that kind of experience, and you give him the authority to do what he wants to do out there, I'm not worried about it. Nobody puts chaos in a corner. That's right. I'm not good in corners. I'm claustrophobic. So you're right. I'll spaz out. I'll be like, So what's left? We got the potential offensively to score points. We got the defense. We can get sacks. We can force turnovers. We need more, but I think that's going to come with leads. I think when you have a lead and you're forcing the other team to pass more, and now you could set your defensive line loose. Now you're rushing the quarterback. They're getting desperate. They're having to press a little bit more, and I think that leads to more turnovers. What's left then, you ask? Why shouldn't we just win every game and go to the Super Bowl? Because there's a pedigree to being a championship football team. A pedigree. Because no matter how good teams have gotten, no matter how good teams are, we see it all the time. Things go wrong during the game. Other teams play well. They have great players too. Referees make bad calls. There's a million reasons why games stay close. Teams pull off upsets. All of it. So what do you have to do? One thing I think that the best teams do, because I've seen a lot of good teams, and the problem is they don't know how to shut the door. I mean, think about it. Why did the Niners not win the Super Bowl? They were outplaying Kansas City. The first half, they blew them away. They were dominating that game. They couldn't take advantage of all their opportunities, so that left Kansas City within striking distance. And then they couldn't put them away. And what's the difference? They were beating them. What went wrong? Well, they had an offensive lineman get hurt, and that had a direct impact on the game. Absolutely did. Because the guy who came in gave up one of the biggest sacks of the game at the end. They just weren't able to hammer the nail in. And great teams with a pedigree to win find a way to hammer the nail. The way Walsh used to do with the Niners back in the day. The way New England did when they were winning Super Bowls. The way Dallas did in the 90s when they were winning Super Bowls. You just have to be able to hammer the nail in to close it out. There's a pedigree. It's a mental thing. You outplay a team the whole game. I don't want to hear adjustments. No. It's like people get a lead and they relax. And the second you relax, you are done. Because when the other team starts to come back, you can't get it back. We've seen it happen. We won and beat Cleveland because of that. They were celebrating like they won. And when we got that quick touchdown and the onside kick, they could not recuperate from that. They just weren't able to do it. So we've got to not let that happen to us. When we get a lead, we have to put teams away. Like, what worries me about last year is that Washington game was not what it was supposed to be. We got that big lead against Washington. Why the hell did we let them come back? Where were the sacks? Where were the sacks? Where was the pressure? Where was the opportunity? We had a big lead going into the second half. Not being able to take control of that game is an issue. It's an issue. Jacoby Brissett coming in and bleeding them back and us almost losing that game is an issue. It is something that we have to understand because that cannot be. When we get up on a team 27-10, whatever it is, we've got to put the nail in the coffin. That's when we get the big sack and the turnover and put the ball in the end zone and make it 34-10 and suck the life out of them. That's what has to happen. That's what great teams do. Week after week. We got to go on a roll where we are crushing teams. Every week can't be a fight. It can't be a struggle. They can't scare themselves each week where we almost slip up. We need to play 4 quarters of championship football. That's what great teams do. And then when you get to a point where, because nobody does it every week, 4 quarters every game, right? But look what Kansas City is able to do. They can turn it on like a switch whenever they have to. So they will cruise through games. They will win lots of games easily. They'll have games that are close. Then they'll have games that they should lose, and somehow they're not losing because they flip a switch. And they take advantage of the fact that most teams cannot close the deal. They just can't close the deal. So that's it's something we never talk about. It's not just, we talk about health. We talk about the fact that we'll have a good passing game. We'll have a good defense. We got a great running game. Oh, my God, the special teams is good. We finally got a good punter and a good kicker. And all of it means nothing if we can't seal the deal, if you can't close out football games. And it's amazing because we've seen great teams just not be able to do it. They're winning, they're doing everything right, and then suddenly they forget how to play football and they lose. And that's my biggest fear of what could happen to us. That we're gonna play great teams, we're gonna build a lead, and we don't have the pedigree. We don't have the championship pedigree to seal the deal and just win the game. We start, and this is a big concern about Saleh, we start to play and he starts to coach not to lose instead of coaching to win. It absolutely drives me crazy. I've been watching it for over 40 years. And it's will drive you mad. How many coaches do this? You outplay another football team for 3 quarters, and then you stop what you're doing. And you get all conservative. And every drive is 1, 2, 3 and out, 1, 2, 3 and out. Run, pass. The team, they know the pass is coming. 3rd and long every drive. You give it back to them 8 times, and you give them every opportunity to win the game. Then you start playing this prevent safe defense, and you stop putting pressure on them. And you bring back your guys and give them lots of space so they're able to walk down the field. Seen it so many times. So at the end of the day, if we're good enough to compete for a championship, what's really going to tell at the end of the day if we're actually going to go further and live our dream? I'm telling you, it's going to come down to that. Can we seal the deal? Are we going to just keep playing the whole game? Because it's just words. He says all gas, no brakes. Where is that? It didn't show up in Washington. It wasn't there. That's a problem. Last game of the year, we pounded New England. That was great. Our defense didn't stop. We cannot stop. You can't stop if you're playing San Francisco. You can't stop if you're playing Pittsburgh. You cannot stop if you're playing Josh Allen. If you're playing an explosive offense like Miami, you can't stop. You can't get a lead and think it's over and start playing prevent defense or cushiony defense. Don't make a mistake defense, safe offense. You can't do that and win in this league. They will come back and they will beat you because mentally, when you change the way you play, it changes the mental part for the players as well. They go into that mode of, we're just trying not to lose. It cannot happen. You got guys like Sauce Gardner, Mosley, the Williams brothers, Reddick. These are animals. Do not take them out of that mode. Let them play to win. Let them feast. Do not relent. Do not relent. If it's been working all game, you keep doing it. If you're giving the quarterback fits, you keep doing it. You don't suddenly relax and start playing zone and saying, well, they could score, but we'll make it take 7 minutes. No, don't let them score. Keep the opponent under 10 points if you can. Keep them under 10 points. Yes, we're a top 5 defense, but it means nothing if it's just numbers, but we're giving up just enough points for the other team to beat us. Just keep pounding them. Keep pounding them. And the one good thing, and I see some people like talking about it, mentioning A-Rod. He's the right guy for this because he has that mentality. He's a freaking man. He talks smack. He talks trash. He's arrogant. I like that. He's a winner. He's not going to sit there and want to stop playing and say, oh, let's just try to preserve the win. No, he doesn't do that. And he needs to be the leader of that to show the team that. Do not stop. Dominate. Do not stop dominating. That's what we need to do. That's how we're going to win. The second you calm down, the second you start playing not to lose, it's over. You're half the team. You're doing everything you can to help the opponent get back in the game. Everything. You're giving them exactly what they've been waiting for all day. You're letting up. All day, they're waiting for you to let up. Other coaches, good coaches, they love it. Oh, they let up. Now's where we just use that plan that we have of how to move the ball down the field. We're taking up as little time as possible. Let's take advantage of all this space, but get out of bounds, 8 yards at a time. And in a minute of football time, they're freaking inside the 5-yard line, ready to score. Every time. I've seen it a million times. There's no such thing as making the other team take 7 minutes off the clock to score if you're playing and giving them space. It doesn't work. They get down the field in a minute because they know how to get out of bounds. They know how to work the clock. So it's got to stop. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. Play a full game of football. That is something we never talk about. We talk about health. We talk about the offensive line staying healthy, obviously. We talk about Aaron Rodgers not being done and that he could have a good Aaron Rodgers type season. We talk about the defense maintaining. We talk about Will McDonald taking the next step. We talk about these new guys we have on the interior of the defensive line. We talk about all these things. But we never say a word about this, about what Larry says right here in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 words. Play a full game of football. We have not done that even in 2009 and 2010. That's why weren't in the Super Bowl. We didn't win the Super Bowl. That's why in 1998, when we were beating Denver 10-0 going into the second half, we lost because we didn't play a full game of football. You got to play a full game of football. And if you're not going to play a full game of football, you better be the team that wins the second half. Like Kansas City. You better win the second half if you're not going to play a full game of football. You better be a team that gets a lot better. But I don't want to sit there and chase another team from behind and be a victim or be vulnerable to a bad call by a referee. If we don't give up 17 points in the first quarter against Kansas City, we're not in a position in the fourth quarter that a non-holding call is going to cost us the game. Play a full game. If we played a full game, we beat Kansas City last year. If we played a full game. But we didn't play. We didn't play the first quarter. We've got to start good, and we've got to end good, and we got to do everything we can to be great and as perfect. We have to chase perfection. Like Jerry Rice, like Lawrence Taylor, like Peyton Manning, like Tom Brady. You have to chase perfection. It's not like in order to win, you have to be trying to be perfect. And then when you fall just short, you still win. But if you're trying to just win and you fall short, you lose. Play a full football game. We could play and beat any team in this league for sure if we play a full football game. If we come out motivated and we want to win, and every player individually takes accountability for themselves and fights every single play, we will win. A-Rod is definitely the quarterback. Quarterback is key to everything. But he has a hell of a supporting cast. He really does. Harry says, that's what I've been saying. The old guy comes in. He got home from California. He had his big wiener, what do they call it? The Wiener Rama. He had his big Wiener Rama party. I went. It was a lot of fun. There was some good food. Had some good dessert. And I said it. I said, Harry, remember, Harry, you can accomplish anything in this world, Harry, because you're a wiener. You're a wiener, Harry. No one could stop a wiener. So, the Paul Hackett effect. No, that's the bad effect. No more crying, no more excuses. Put on your big boy panties and strap up. Tired of the negativity. Let's fucking go. I'm telling you, we got the team. He's our closer. Joey Cards really likes A-Rod. And I agree. He's a leader. His attitude can help. What is this? Zachary Berner. We are the starving lion in the Coliseum. It's going to be hard to stop. I certainly hope so. And we better not get cocky. We better stay hungry even if we're winning. I hate when teams, before they win a Super Bowl, start acting like they're champions. We have to act like we're nobodies until we get the Super Bowl. If you don't run the right route, A-Rod isn't throwing you the ball. That's true. Wilson can definitely run routes. We're not worried about that. I can't wait till we do our first screen pass to Corley. Malachi Corley. I know what's going to happen. We're going to do some screen pass to him, and he's going to get tackled hard where they swipe out his legs, and he goes high up in the air and bangs to the ground for like a 2-yard gain. And every Jet fan is going to scream, bust! We should have taken a weapon at number 10. I hope everybody's going to be patient and realize that he's a developing rookie. And he's the type of player that's going to hurt you as the game goes on. As the game goes on, eventually they're going to make a mistake. And Corley's the kind of player that will make you pay for it. So it might not happen the first play, but I assure you, I think we're going to get some good, we're going to have some fun with Malachi Corley. Yep, I agree, Joey Carts. I think he's one of the best running backs in the NFL, hands down. Who are you more excited to see? Are we talking about which Jet am I excited to see? I mean, the Jet I'm most excited to see is Aaron Rodgers. Because he's been on this team, it feels like, for fucking 5 years. And he hasn't completed a pass yet. He hasn't completed a pass yet. We got Aaron Rodgers when I had COVID. That was a lifetime ago. It's true. When we got Aaron Rodgers, not when we got him, when he told the world on that show on YouTube, Pat McCaffrey, that he wants to be a New York Jet, I had COVID. It feels like forever. He hasn't completed a pass yet. So yeah, I'm more excited. I'm most excited to see. I want to see Aaron Rodgers play. Um, man, that's a hard one, man. If you've been following me, you know I love Braylon Allen. Like I love Braylon Allen. Like he was the number one running back. I was hoping I would in mock drafts not take higher ranked running backs, and I'd wait to the next pick because I wanted to make it that I picked Braylon Allen. I absolutely love him. I watched his film. I can't believe he wasn't a second round running back. I cannot believe it. And it makes total sense. Oh, he was technically, right? He did go in the second round. But I mean, the reason JD was trying to trade up to get him was because, oh no, that was Corley. I can't believe Braylon Allen. What did he go in the fifth round? What did we get him at, like 157 or something? Some crazy shit like that at 138. That is nuts to me. I love Braylon Allen. I think he's amazing. I think he reminds me, he's different than Breece. So I can't say that he reminds me of Breece Hall. He's different. But like he reminds me of him in the sense that I feel about him like I felt about Breece coming out of college. Like when I watch him play in those college games, his runs are like out of this world. Like he has a special kind of talent. And he's got that nice. I mean, I think that Isaiah Davis is the guy that's going to truck people. I think Braylon Allen is powerful, but he's more a combination of power and speed. I think Isaiah Davis is the guy that's going to run right into you. But Curly does that too. I don't know, man. I'm more excited to see Corley do it, I think. And the reason why is because Corley is the more important guy to hit. Like, in other words, Corley's the guy that has to work out. We need another wide receiver in that room. That doesn't mean I'm saying that Braylon Allen's not important, and I wouldn't be devastated if he was a bust. But I think Corley is the bigger need on the team. Like, we need another receiver. Mike Williams, might not be healthy the whole season. He might not start the season. We need Corley to be an immediate impact, whereas we have Breece Hall. So if Braylon Allen doesn't play much because Breece Hall owns it, I'm not as concerned, right? So, I mean, I guess for that reason I'll say Corley, but I'm going to enjoy it no matter who it is. No matter who trucks somebody, I'm going to be going absolutely shit crazy, and you guys all get to watch it because I'm watching the game live with Green Bean. So, yeah, I love it, man. There's nothing better than watching one of your players truck over the defender, especially when you're playing like division teams, division rivals. Like, I'd love to see one of those guys just run over a Dolphin or run over a Patriot. It'll be great. Stay humble and hungry. Absolutely. Don't forget what happened to the Cowboys when the Packers came to their stadium. Absolutely. The Cowboys were heavy favorites and got their asses handed to them. I mean, look, the Giants did it too. The Giants went on 2 different Super Bowl runs where they beat teams that were overly confident. In 2008 and 2012. They did it twice. 2 wild card runs where they weren't supposed to win. And they went to Green Bay and won. They won in Dallas. So yeah, it's like you gotta stay hungry. I think who was it? Was it Buffalo that lost to whoever lost to Cincinnati? Well, I think Kansas City and Buffalo lost to Cincinnati, possibly. But Cincinnati got into the Super Bowl because Kansas City got cocky. Like they were just too confident. They weren't humble and hungry. So, and they learned their lessons, and they came back and they won 3 Super Bowls because they learned their lesson. They learned. I don't want to waste a whole year having to learn that lesson. We don't have a big enough window for that. We have to come in and understand if we're winning, if we're 8-0, don't get cocky. Every single game, fight for your life, like your life depends on it. That's how, if you could do that, you win. If Breece stays upright, 2,000 yards from scrimmage. I was saying his stretch goal is 25. I mean, he got to 1,600 on a horrendously bad year where we had no quarterback and no offensive line. And he was coming back from ACL. Can you imagine what he could do with a healthy offensive line and Aaron Rodgers at quarterback? I think 2,000 would be a disappointment. I want the minimum to be 2,200 from scrimmage, and I want to see him push for 2,500, which would put him up as one of the greatest running backs in the and like it would put him up with the big names, Adrian Peterson, Tomlinson. That's what I want to see him do because I think he could be one of the best. I want to see A-Rod, Brees, and Wilson. Yeah. Who doesn't? I mean, I think you just named our. That's like the equivalent of. Help me out here. Oh yeah, Aikman, Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin. You know what I mean? Like those are your big three. Those are your big three right there, without question. Allen was a 4th rounder. Okay, but still amazing, right? Amazing. 4th round. Like what? Whoa. Nobody cares about running backs anymore. At least if we're right. If we're wrong, then we're the ones that look stupid. But I think Braylon Allen is going to make people look stupid. Who do you love more, Braylon Allen or Coach Ulbrich? Well, to be honest, I mean, I think Coach Ulbrich's a great guy. We're going to lose him probably. If we make the playoffs, like I think we're going to, and we're as good as I think we're going to be, Ulbrich is gone. He's going to be a head coach next year. Whereas Braylon Allen will be along for a while. I think, look, Ulbrich's a cool guy. He's really a cool guy. He's really cool. But the reality is, I don't know how much it's going to hurt us when he leaves. Because the truth is, we didn't. It was when we hired Saleh that we knew we were gonna, where we expected we were gonna have a very good defense. And Saleh is everywhere he goes, you end up having a really good defense. So he's gonna replace Ulbrich with someone, and we're gonna be fine. But that doesn't mean I'm not gonna miss Ulbrich. I will. But who do I love more? Oh, I don't know. I love all my Jets, man. It's hard to put a number on love. The question is, do I love my wife more than these guys? I don't know, man. I guess Ulbrich has done more than Braylon Allen has for us, but I love him as a prospect. The rookie premier in California, Braylon Allen, looked bigger than Brock Bowers. Oh, and the rookie premier? Yeah, he's a big guy. He's a big boy. He's a big boy. So, we'll see. Send messages. We need to send a message in Frisco. I might be there. So I hope they do send a message. Do you think we'll ever get a stadium back in New York? This way we can get grass and lose the turf. If so, where? That'll bring the Jets fandom to a higher level. I think the only realistic place is near Citi Fields in Queens. I know that they used to look at the west side of Manhattan by the Javits Center, like somewhere around there. I don't think that's ever going to happen. And I think they're worried about the traffic it would cause. It would cause a nightmare. So the only thing I can imagine that would be technically be, I mean, if you want to technically be in New York and close to the city, I guess it could be right, kind of upstate a little, kind of like in between Middletown and New York. I don't know. I mean, there are places that aren't that far, like up Westchester, I guess, where there might be some space for a stadium. I don't know. But I think that realistically, if it really happens, I have no idea if it would ever happen, but if it realistically happens, I think it would be, they would create a sports complex in Queens, and it would be like side by side. You'd have Citi Field and you'd have some big football stadium. And I think it would be a retractable roof if they were smart. So we would have grass, but we'd also have the ability to shut the roof if we wanted. Although maybe we wouldn't want to do that because maybe we want the advantage because we end up, if we believe we're the better cold weather team. I don't know. But I think it would be Queens. That's the only place I can imagine it would be Queens. Absolutely not. Dolan will block any New York stadium. Oh, you think so? He could block it. He could block it in Queens. Braylon Allen is identical to King Henry. Okay. Oh, King Henry. Oh, that would be great. Yeah, give me that. What would we do? We'd have a running back controversy. I mean, can you imagine you have two premier guys like that? I mean, what do you do? They both need the ball 20 to 30 times a game. Scott Foster, what's going on, buddy? Good to see you. Did I see Weed? Weed was around. I don't know if he's still here, but he was around. They should use the Nassau Coliseum site for Jet Stadium. But didn't the Islanders move back to Nassau Coliseum? I'm not sure. I don't live there anymore, so I don't know. That would be fine. I feel bad for Nick. I feel bad hoping for it because Nick is so close right now. It's so easy for him to get to the stadium. I feel bad because he'd never get to go to games anymore with his kid. But you know what? He's in New Jersey, so screw him. Jesse's a practice house right next to. Yeah, I remember, man. I went there. My friend's dad took us. I saw Mark Gastineau, and I saw Joe Klecko, and I saw Marty Lyons, and Freeman McNeil, and Lance Mel, and Mickey Schuler. I saw all those guys. So I remember it very, very well when they were in Hofstra. I remember, I mean, this is so many years ago, but I actually remember, let's see, how many years ago? It's 15, so it was 84, I want to say, 85. Wow, so 15 years plus 15 years plus what's 10 years, 20 or 25, 35, 39 years ago, almost 40 years ago. And I still remember it. I remember we were cold. It was a nasty New York day, super gray and cloudy. But I remember those players coming out, and Mark Gastineau shined, man, like a light bulb. He had like gold coming out of him. You could tell he was a star. He glowed. And it was just intense. It was intense. He was one of the biggest stars we ever had, for sure. I see Weed too. The Islanders moved to Belmont. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. The Islanders are in UBS Arena. Wow. I'm so disconnected. It's crazy. What is going on, Alan? Good to see you, brother. A little bit of Sunday chaos. Yes, Wayne Corbett went to Hofstra. That I remember. Still lives in Long Island. He's just a Long Island boy. Big Jet fan, always was. Got to play for his favorite team. Got to live the dream. What stat line would be okay with Corley and Will McDonald this season? That's hard because it depends, right? Like if the number's low for Corley, it's like, why? Like maybe Xavier Gibson explodes and is amazing. Maybe Alan Lazard has a big bounce back year, and maybe it's hard for Corley to see the field because they make it hard for rookies to see the field. And if everybody's playing well, maybe he doesn't get to see the field as much. That matters. Context matters. But if Corley got anything over 500 yards, I'd be thrilled. I mean, if he had a 550 to 600 yard season, unless we're using him as the number 3 and he was out there all the time and dropping passes and not able, and getting tackled, he's like, unless he played like crap and got those. But I mean, assuming he looks good, has some big plays, flashes, is tough to tackle. If he ends up with 500 to 600 yards because Garrett Wilson gets 1,500 and Mike Williams gets 800-900 and Conklin gets 600, and Breece Hall gets 500, I mean, then I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. So it's more how he plays, but I mean, I would love to see him I'd love to see him as a goal, stretch goal, just like anything over 600 would be great. Between 400 and 600 would need context. I need context. Is it his fault? Was it he was fine when he was given the opportunity, or was it because he was a disappointment? Anything under that, I'm disappointed because we traded up to get him, and I'm hoping that he gets used and he makes an impact. And even if the other guys play well, I'll be disappointed that he didn't force his way onto the field with his skill and talent. So I'll leave it at that. McDonald, I hope he gets the reps. I think he flashed last year. I was disappointed with the position, but I do not hold it against Will McDonald. Will McDonald's had a good rookie year. If you're not just looking at box scores, but if you actually watched him play, he had a great win rate. When he got the reps, he was there. He was disrupting. He looks like he could develop into a nice seal. Like he could seal the edge. He's not just a pass rush specialist. They may use him as that, but he doesn't have to be just a pass rush specialist. He looks to me like a guy who could develop and be an all-down edge if you needed him to do it. He's not the liability that Huff was against the run game. I don't believe so. So stat line for him, if he plays early downs also, if he mixes in equally, but only gets, let's say, 40 to 50% of the stats because he's got Reddick and JJ. I don't know, man. If he gets 8 sacks, that would be okay, I guess. If he gets a lot more reps, like 60, somebody gets hurt, knock on wood, and he's playing all the time, then I would hope he hits double digits. I mean, he was the 15th pick in the draft. We picked him over a lot of great players. So we need to have good production from him. Otherwise, I'm not okay with it. You know, like he can't just be average. We could have had JSN. We could have had the Addison. Like we could have had real wide receivers. Like when we didn't get our offensive linemen that we wanted, we still could have. There was still a ton of talent last year. I mean, just so much talent. So he has to produce, and he has to be good. I believe he will. I believe McDonald's going to be fine. He showed some amazing athleticism. He's showing all the potential to be a really good player. So I don't know. I'm feeling pretty confident about him. What's up, Sean McAteer, guardian of Temecula? It's good to see you. GW is getting 1,200 plus in career touchdown, which doesn't say much. Laughing out loud. Well, I mean, I think he'll get more like 1,400 plus yards. I really do. I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be Rodgers, Devontae Adams. I think he was going to be last year. I think the fact that he got over 1,000 yards the last 2 years with the worst quarterback play in the NFL just speaks volumes of how special he is. I don't think you're going to see that from. I don't think you see that from normal players. I think Garrett Wilson is very special. And in spite of the absolute worst quarterback play in the NFL and no offensive line, as bad as our offense was, he found a way to get over 1,000 yards both seasons. He's a special player. And with Aaron Rodgers, yeah, I don't know, man. GW 1,200 feels like it's not that much of a step up. I think it's going to be 1,400 plus. And nothing will surprise me about him because I think he might be a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL. We just don't know it yet. So Stephen Teese comes in and says, Kotite or Gase with Rodgers? Who you going with? Kotite or Gase? Oh my God. What a question. What a question. Do you want to eat dog shit or cat shit? You may as well. Oh my God. I hated Kotite, bro. I know most people are going to say Gase here because a lot of people might not remember Kotite. But he was just as hateable, I promise you. Kotite was so bad. He was absolutely vile. He was the worst head coach. He was so bad. He was such a bad head coach. At least Gase went 8-8 one year, right? Didn't he go 8-8 with us or 7-9? I mean, at least he won something. Kotite was just brutal. I mean, you know what though? Gase would try to complicate things with his so-called offensive genius, whereas Kotite would have been, I'm an idiot, I don't know what I'm doing, and would have let Rodgers just be in control. So I think that he'd be better with Kotite because Kotite would have left him alone at least. Whereas Gase would have been, with his all weird eyes, would have been like this. I think you need to throw the ball more or run the ball more, and I think he would mess it up. So I'm going to say Kotite. But I hate them both, man. That's why Long Island sucks. Dead zone for fun. There are no major sports teams, no big college. Hey, Long Island does not suck, man. Long Island does not suck. I had a great time in Long Island, dude. You go eat an American burger and you tell me that Long Island sucks. You go into Huntington and get going to a Brazilian steakhouse and get a plate with like 18 pounds of meat on it and tell me that it sucks. You know, there's wine country in Long Island. There's the Hamptons in Long Island. There's Jones Beach where great freaking Van Halen has played. Come on, man. Long Island doesn't suck. They got the planetarium that used to play the Led Zeppelin laser show. They got Stony Brook. Well, Stony Brook used to be fun. It might not be as fun anymore. Huntington, not just Huntington, Port Jeff used to be a great town, man. Get some fried calamari, like big bowls of it, fresh right out of the ocean. Long Island doesn't suck. DC man, just in say, oh, quick high. Can't focus on football yet while the Rangers are in the playoffs. But the Rangers aren't playing, so you can focus on football if you want, because the Rangers got a few days off. Fatu will outplay Kinlaw this year. I guess it's possible. I think they like Kinlaw. I think we're paying them money because they see something in him that none of us see. I think that, remember like 2 years into Quinnen Williams' career, before he really got it going, there were fans saying he was a bust, and they weren't happy with Quinnen Williams. I think that might be, I'm not saying he's as good as Quinnen Williams. I'm not saying that. But I think there might be some of that with Kinlaw. I think he's underrated because he was drafted so high. And I think if he was a guy that was drafted in the 5th round, it was never a high draft pick, and played the way he played, I think he'd be more popular than he is right now. I don't know. It's just a feeling I get. I think Kinlaw's going to be okay for us. I do. I trust our team when it comes to that. I trust Saleh when it comes to interior defensive linemen. Sean McAteer comes in. He says Garrett, Brees, and Conklin are going to have a big year in 2024. We don't know about Mike Williams, but if he ends up fully healthy, he's going to have a good year. It all depends on the health of Aaron Rodgers. I'm reading it like I'm the principal from Kindergarten Cop. Okay. Oh, no. Stepdad. Remember the one with Adam Sandler? What's that? Big Daddy? Remember that principal? He's the stinky kid in school. Even the weed they smoke in Long Island smells like skunk ass tunnel. You guys are just cutting on Long Island. It makes no sense. Long Island is like the California of New York in the sense that it's got all these towns, it's got beach, people actually go surfing there. What's wrong with that? Let's see. Stick with what you got if that's our options. I don't want either. Oh, the coaches? Yeah, we don't want either of those coaches. I know. Gase's face through a presser. Oh, my God. That was the worst, dude. That was the worst. And Green Bean made it worse. Like now, Green Bean has made the Gase thing even worse thinking about. Like the way he's talked about Adam Gase's face and the pictures he showed of him. I feel our defense will be fine as well if Aaron Rodgers stays healthy. Could you imagine our team last year if we didn't have them on the field for 80% of the game? I know. It's not going to be 80%, but if we are able to have real drives and give our defense, a reasonable rest, by getting some first downs even when we don't score, and then scoring more often. Can you imagine? I'm telling you, it's gonna be great for our defense. And then on top of it, if we have a lead, it's gonna be even more advantageous for our defense. Oh, Suffolk County, though. Yeah, I guess I'm not going to defend the county, a specific county. It might be a lousy county. I don't know. I just went to Stony Brook, and I had a good time. I went before it was like a brainiac school. I went to Stony Brook when it was still cool. You know what I mean? When you could still party and have fun. Like, it wasn't – like, now it's a freaking – I don't know. Like, it's just boring. Like, if you went to the campus and said, let's party – you'd have a whole bunch of students saying, "We're studying." And Kinlaw took over for a player who was dominant. 49ers fans never really accepted him. Oh, okay. There you go, too. That's another reason. He had big shoes to fill. Now he's not filling that big of shoes. Whose shoes is he filling? We haven't had a superstar defensive tackle next to Quinnen for his whole career. We've had nice pieces, but we haven't had anybody where you have to have the pressure of filling their shoes. I used to cover the LI Ducks for News 12. That's cool. It sounds like fun. Had more sketch people come to me in Suffolk County gas station for money total sketch. Oh, okay. But if you go up to wine country there, it's freaking beautiful. The ducks are kind of fun to watch. 20 years ago. Wow. Quentin Jefferson had a nice year. I thought so too. Is he signed yet? Or is he still hurt? Or is he retiring? What's the deal with Quentin Jefferson? I liked him. I wanted him back. I think it's partly the system. I mean, imagine you're Kinlaw, right? Or you're Fatu or Tatu, whatever his name is. You're coming into the game. You got Quinnen Williams next to you. On two guys over to the left, you got, let's say, Jermaine Johnson. And over here to your right, you got Hassan Reddick. Right? One of those guys comes out, it's Will McDonald's, right? This athletic freak who could jump over the whole freaking line. So you're lined up with these guys. You got Mosley behind you calling plays, telling you what to do. You got Quincy Williams, right, who's a stud, right? You have all these guys around you. You're lining up. The offensive line is worried about the guy next to you. That's what they're trying to figure out how to stop this lunatic, Quinnen Williams. And they're trying to stop Hassan Reddick and Jermaine Johnson, right? That's what they're worried about. You're the one guy that they don't care about. I mean, they care about you, but they're not fearing you. You're not the guy that they're scared all week long. They're thinking, how the hell are we going to stop Kinlaw? Right? Because they're worried about Q. And they're worried about our freaking pass rushers. They're worried about Hassan Reddick. They're worried about Jermaine Johnson. They don't even know about Will McDonald yet. So think about that. You have a good opportunity to have one-on-one the whole game. They're using the minimum resources on you. The minimum resources. So you're going to have a one-on-one all game, and it's not an all-pro tackle. You're going to be going against, center and probably mostly just the same guard. So when you're not playing an all-pro guard, you have a chance to do some things. And you're rotating, so you're fresher. That guard's playing every play, he's getting tired. You're coming in, you're coming out, resting, coming in. You're fresh all game. I don't know. I think it's a good situation for whoever plays that position for us. Who is left in the 49ers D line with all they... I don't know who's left. They're not the same. They're untested. And that's what we should do, in my opinion. In my opinion, the game plan against the Niners is we've got to test their guard, their interior defensive line. We got to ground and pound. We got to punch them in the face and see if they can handle it. They got good linebacker stuff. They do have that. But I say we punch them in the face and see what they got. Yeah, we're going to have to pay for them. But we got a plan, Super Leroy. It's not like they're not thinking about it. They know they're going to have to pay Sauce $30 million. They know they're going to have to play Garrett Wilson big money. Like, they know. They're already deciding who we're going to keep, who we're not going to keep. It sucks. The money thing sucks. I'm just focused on the next 2 years. Then everything else will work out. Germany, you think Bryce Huff hits the sack total last season on the Eagles this season? I don't know. He might get 10 sacks, 10 to 12 sacks. He might get 12 sacks. He might get 15. But you know what? If they try to use him every down as an every down edge, they're going to learn a really bad lesson, man. because he's not just not good at run defense as an edge, he's outright horrible. Like, he is probably one of the worst defensive ends in the NFL against the run. Like, to the point where other teams would try to rush and hurry up offense to stop, to keep him in the game, to get an advantage. That's how bad he was. So I think there's a chance if they have a lead a lot. I mean, if the Eagles are winning a lot of games going into every second half, they got a lead. The other team is dropping back a lot, throwing a lot of passes. I think you can definitely see Huff get a bunch of sacks. That's okay as long as we win. You know, if we can't get enough pressure, if Reddick only gets 4 sacks and Will McDonald's a bust and only gets 3 or 4 sacks, and it turns out we needed Huff and he gets 15, 16 sacks, if that was to happen, you're going to hear, that's going to be, something we're all going to have to hear and be talking about for sure. There's no question it's going to come up. But if Reddick gets double-digit sacks and Jermaine Johnson gets double-digit sacks and Will McDonald gets 8 sacks, if all that was to happen, no one's going to be talking about Bryce Huff. Reddick is a beast, guys. He's a beast. I don't think we're missing a linebacker. We got 2 of the top 15 linebackers in the NFL on every chart, and we only play 2 most of the time. Like half the plays at least, we only play 2 linebackers. I like Sherwood. I think he's fine. Like, he hasn't got much of a chance, but when he has, he's done fine. Sherwood has looked good. I think the other guys behind him look good. I think that it's a deep position for us. I don't think people realize that we got guys on the bench playing linebacker that might look really good when they get to play. So I don't know. I don't think we need a linebacker. It's my opinion. I could be wrong. I hope our run defense is better than this year. It was a little worrying last year where teams running on us a little. I think that happened mostly at the end, though, after Jefferson and the other guy got hurt. I think that's when we started to notice that they were running against us, but I agree. I think we're always going to be a little susceptible. Like, it's going to be a little bit of a weakness because we put so much focus on pass rushing. Even for our interior guys, we look for explosive players who can get to the quarterback. And I think our style of aggressive defense of those 4 guys getting to the quarterback kind of open us up to have a little bit of an issue against the run. But I think early on when our interiors are good and we're healthy, I think that we did a better job, and we don't need to be like the best run stoppers in the NFL, but we certainly want to be average or better than average. So, yeah, I think that's going to be Kinlaw, Tattoo, or Fatu. That's what we're going to need them for. It's going to be a big role for them. We'll see. Again, we got rid of Huff, who's the biggest weakness against the run. So now Clemens is decent at sealing the edge. Jermaine is very decent. Reddick is, again, people forget that was one of the big upgrades because Reddick is not bad at it. It's not his strength. It's not what he's famous for, but he's fine against the run. He has a lot of tackles for loss. And I believe Will McDonald will eventually be fine, and he'll be a full complete edge. I was saying it before, to stop the run. So I think that's going to help us. It's going to help us. I'm telling you, when the other team ran the ball and Huff was on the field, he was a severe liability. I love Mosley, but how many more years do you think we have with Mosley? I don't know, dude. I don't know. We might start seeing this year or next year. I would not be surprised if you start to see Sherwood rotate in. Would not be surprised at all. He's lost a step. He's getting tired. When he has to make a ton of tackles in a game, he suffers for it the next week. I wouldn't be surprised if you start seeing more of a rotation with the linebackers where you start to see Sherwood get more snaps, more reps. Wouldn't be surprised. Do you think that's a top pick next year? Or do we go O-line to fill? Well, I don't know if it's a top pick. If the right guy is there, yes, but I don't think they're going to be nervous about it because remember, they've proven they could take just good athletes in late rounds and convert them into good linebackers. And we saw that with Sherwood has looked good from what we've seen of him when he gets his chance. Also, look what they've done with Quincy, right? Quincy was on the garbage heap. He was cut. He was released. He had no job. Nobody wanted him. We took him and have developed him into a Pro Bowler. So we have, as long as we have this coaching staff, we're pretty good at it. We're pretty good at it. If something goes wrong this year and we fire the whole staff, they're going to draft a tight end. In my opinion, most coaching staffs and the average, with the defensive schemes, most situations, you'd look at that roster and say, we need a third linebacker. That's reliable. And we have Mosley getting old, so we need to bring in a really good linebacker. I think with our current defense, our current scheme, and the way things are now, it's not so much the case. So it's just, it depends on how your team is designed. But I think that Sherwood is better than people think. And I think you definitely have to let a guy like that have his chance. Because if you could fill in a spot without using up high draft capital and without having to pay big money, and you could have Sherwood step up and do a really good job, that's how teams win championships. When you find these 5th, 6th round picks and you're able to convert them into contributors. Tony Alexio is here. He's saying we're glad to have the chaos. Great show. Thank you. It's good to see you back, Tony Alexio. Wild Wave is here. Hall Pro. You're right. Am I saying All-Star or something? It's possible that we pick a quarterback again next year. Because you have to understand, we can't put all of our marbles in a 5th round pick. I mean, we're talking about a small percentage that he's successful. He was injured, so he might have a little bit better of a chance, but it's not likely. At best, you can argue he's 10% he'll be a real quarterback in the NFL. So it's totally possible they might draft another quarterback. I don't know what round, but don't forget what's cool about next year is we have an extra 3rd already, right? I know I got to look at what we already have, but I know we gained an extra 3rd, which is nice. Very nice to have an extra 3rd round pick. So we're going to go into next year. Oh, no, what are we going to lose next year? We're going to lose a 3rd or a 2nd, I think, right? Because of Hassan Reddick? Or is that 2026? That might be 2026. Be nice to have a lot of picks, like full picks. We had a pretty good draft considering we didn't have a 2nd round pick. I will say that. We ended up doing pretty well, I think. It's 2026. So that means we have an extra 3rd pick and an extra 6th. It's kind of nice. I wonder if that means you could take the extra 6th, package it with the 3rd, and move up to the early 3rd. That would be cool. Because you have to assume the 3rd we have from Detroit's going to be near the end of the 3rd round because Detroit's going to be really good. So maybe you could use your 6th round pick to trade that up 10 spots or something. So we lose the pick for Reddick. But that's 2026, right? So we're going to worry about 2025. We did have a 2nd round pick. It was Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, I guess that's a good way to look at it, Bill. You're right. It's not really scheduled days between games, so it is kind of crazy, but I still agree. I'm not too worried about the schedule, guys. If we're really a championship team, then that's all going to take care of itself. I'm not worried about it. And that's famous last words, but think about it. If we can get through that tiring part of the schedule, come out of that thing, I don't know, 5-2, 6-2 after the first 8 games, and then be looking at the back end of a schedule where it's going to get very normalized. We're going to have weeks off, a bye week. that could work out really nicely for us. So Billy, you're reading my mind. I mean, look, I went into before the offseason, I thought to myself, you know what? If I'm gonna put $100 on the Jets to win the Super Bowl, this is what I figure. Because every year I try to do that. I figure do it as soon as last season ends, as soon as I can, because as soon as we start signing players in free agency and drafting players, the odds are going to change. That was my opinion. So I put $100 for the Jets to win the Super Bowl before everything opened up. I think it was in February. And my odds were $100 pays $2,800. So I got a ticket where if the Jets win the Super Bowl, I get $2,800. Now, if you look at the odds right now, I think they're like 1,300 to 100, like 13 to 1. So if somebody puts $100, if I waited till now and put $100 down, I only get $1,300. I get $2,800. So believe me, Billy, not only do I think there's a chance we win the Super Bowl, I'm hoping it happens. Because not only will I be the happiest guy in the world because my football team won a Super Bowl, but I'll also have some extra cash money. If you play fantasy football, if you do, what round would you draft our players? That's a good question because I do play. And I think Breece Hall is a top 10 pick without question. As a matter of fact, the only running back I consider ahead of him is the guy from San Francisco, McCaffrey. It's the only guy I consider. I can't think of another running back that I would clearly rather have than Breece Hall. So he would be a top pick if I picked fifth overall. And yeah, I think if I picked fifth overall and it came to me, I think I would just take Breece Hall. Maybe even with the fourth pick, depending on what the other guys do in front of me. I think Garrett Wilson's a top 15 pick. Because of Aaron Rodgers, for sure. I think Conklin's like a 6th, 7th round pick. I mean, he might not even be that high. No one, I mean, I don't think he's the guy you're taking to have a big, big year because he has a lot of good players around him, and he's not a centerpiece of the offense. Let's see. So I think Mike Williams, I think, is like I don't know, 4th rounder, maybe, depending on how big the league is. Maybe 5th rounder. I don't know. He's like an 800-yard receiver, 5-6 touchdowns, maybe. Like that's what I'd put him in that category and just figure it out where I would draft him based on those numbers. I think Corley is a late round pick, but I think people will pick him up. I was just as a guy to stash, see what happens. I don't think any of our other running backs get drafted. I don't think they're going to have the opportunity to get enough points for fantasy purposes. But I think Corley will. I think Mike Williams, of course, will. Garrett Wilson, top 15, top 16, something like that. Breece Hall, top 10, probably top 8. Maybe probable top 5. Not impossible top 3. Like he's that good. It depends on how recognized it is by the rest of the league. Our defense, I think, could get drafted now. But, 8th, 9th round when you're drafting defenses. I honestly think it's a sleeper thing because a lot of people don't think Jets. Because even when we're good, we're not a good fantasy defense, but I think that's going to change this year. I think there's going to be a lot of sacks, a lot of fumbles caused, more interceptions caused. I think it might be a really good year for our defense. I did the All-American Food Review. It's coming, I promise. I'll let everybody know when I release it. That'd be amazing, Billy. We'll see what the odds do. I'm happy I got in when I got in. As soon as we made all those trades and rebuilt the offensive line, I saw the odds coming down and I smiled. I really think the Jets are going to come out week 1 and really make a statement. I think it's very possible that we're going to make a very big statement. I wouldn't be surprised if we started the year like 10-1. Like, really, after 11 games, I wouldn't be surprised if we were sitting there at 10-1. Well, I'd be surprised, but I wouldn't be shocked. I don't think it's impossible. Like, I see how it could happen. If Rodgers comes out and plays great, if our offense is just electric, if Breece Hall's running all over the place and we're putting up a lot of points with our defense, we could be 8-1. Or whatever. Imagine 10-0. Oh, you got to be kidding me. 10-0. Oh, Sean McAtee would be flipping out. I'd grab his beard and cut it off with a scissor and go, that's how happy I am. I cut your beard off. Punch me. I said, hit me, Sean McAtee. I cut your beard off. Hit me. That's what I'd be like. I'd be crazy. Anyway, I'm going to hang it up, guys. I got to go. I'm tired of talking. Nick will be back on. I'm a proud New York Jets fan in an hour and 15 minutes at 6 o'clock. Enjoy him. Enjoy yourselves. Thanks for coming. Thanks for listening. Thank you to Knob for gifting 5 memberships out to people. I highly appreciate it. And all of you have an amazing, amazing week. An amazing show. I was going to say. Well, enjoy the Sunday night show. Enjoy the week. And remember, come back anytime and hang out in the Jets Lounge. We love you.
Let's go! We need JJ! We want JJ! We want JJ! We want JJ! Let's go!
JJ! We got Johnson! We got Johnson at 26! We got Johnson at 26! This is great!
It is Matt, it is Richie. We are hanging out with the Jets Lounge guys. Richie, my man, how's it going?
Matt, this is sick. We're at the Jets Lounge event in Farmingdale. The main event is what it's called. We got the entire Rucker family over there.
Jets!